Nintendo isn't dead after all, my friends, as they had games and announcements galore at this morning's Indie World presentation, which honestly shocked me, because they did what Ninten don't. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Hope you're all having an awesome day. This show was insane. Normally, these Indie Worlds are notorious for announcing a ton of games that come out later, much later, or a lot later. But today they had 6 shadow drops. 6, count them, 6. I think from the last Indie World back in March, only 6 total of those games have ever released. And today they had 6 that are out now on the eShop. That is wild and crazy, and if you're excited by Ninten doing what they normally don't, smash that like button. Let me know in the comments down below which game from today has you most excited. Hades is a very good contender. That game looks a little generic, but it absolutely plays phenomenally, and Supergiant has delivered another winner. I wish that was a shadow drop, but it wasn't. It'll be out soon, and it's an instant buy for me. It's got my seal of approval before it even sees the light of day. Spiritfarer, though, one that is out today, a good get for us on the system, and I'm glad we didn't have to Spiritfarer Nintendo's future off into the afterlife. We were worried. What's gonna happen? They've been behaving strange. There's rumors of a Mario 3D collection. Nothing ever happens. We're thinking there's a direct. All rumors and leakers and credible sources point to a general direct in the next few weeks, and this Indie World presentation was an important stepping stone because it was inevitable that we get an Indie World, and it was predicted alongside the predictions about the bigger direct, so this happening makes that a lot more likely. But what will Nintendo do? They are mysterious beyond all belief. They've announced games on Twitter. They've sat out the E3 Direct. They've put out Pikmin 3 Deluxe, but that's coming at the end of October. Anything before and then today, they buck the trend and say, hey, we're going to do an Indie World, but almost everything we talk about, there's a few 2021 titles, but almost everything we talk about is out now or in the next few weeks. And that was mission critical because there's so little to play on Switch that is new. We are all on board with Animal Crossing till the end of time. I get it. I love it. But sometimes it's good to have a fresh face. Garden Story looks really cool. That's not till 2021. But so much else is out now. And I do wonder that even though this is one of the most exciting indie presentations I've ever seen as a player, and normally we view an Indie World spot as a great boost for a smaller team, and being shadow dropped is like a wonderful way to increase sales. But if there are 6 games shadow dropped at the same time, and Nintendo puts a bunch of other indies on sale, are we going to find that this was one of the least beneficial Indie Worlds for the developers and the publishers? I do wonder. I hope not, though, because I think this was one of their best organized directs and presentations. Not only did they traverse the globe in terms of developers and genres, but they had a really nice flow where they showed a mood trailer, then they talked to the developer, and then they showed gameplay. Other major companies could learn from Nintendo in that if you're going to show a trailer that is not in-engine, or that does not represent what you're actually going to play, you got to show gameplay right after. And I appreciated that they did that with stuff like Hades and Spiritfarer. Cool animated trailers, show the gameplay. Raji looks very, very unique, and I applaud Nintendo for continuing to bring such eclectic variety into these indie worlds that keep them fresh and keeps them exciting. But they're not exciting if the games never show up. I wonder what is going on with titles like Baldo and Eastward. We just heard that Sports Story has been delayed into next year, which is a bummer, but hopefully it'll be back. Bear and Breakfast better not get delayed, though. I thought this was one of the quirkier and most awesome titles shown. You are Hank the Bear, and you got to build out a bed and breakfast. I think that is brilliant, and I want to work together with my bear buddy to attract all the awkward customers and create the coolest B&B we've ever seen. It's going to put Shroot Farms to shame. This Indie Direct, will it put the next Direct to shame, or is this a sign of things to come? Nintendo normally does have a lot of directs, but lately they've had so few. Nintendo do put out big holiday titles, but maybe Nintendo don't this year, and I think that's the overall thesis I want you to take away from this video. Nintendo is being unpredictable as all heck. You know, a ton of games are getting delayed. We just saw Halo Infinite and Deathloop and Vampire Bloodlines all get pushed. Nintendo could adopt a similar strategy, or maybe it was necessary for them to adopt a similar strategy, and the only thing we get this fall is the Mario 3D collection. Or, just like they did this Indie World, they could buck the trend and blow us out of the water with their next big direct towards the end of the month. I'm thinking like August 28th, around there. If they do, that will be absolutely insane. And if they don't, it would make just as much sense. Heck, at this point, I wonder if the Mario 3D collection is even real. Now, I really do think it is, but Like I said, normally Ninten does, lately Ninten-Don't. Everything just seems to be backwards. The wires seem to be crossed, the streams are intersecting, and I don't know what happens next. You could view that as miserable, or you could view that as super exciting. Today, it worked out well. That partner showcase, not so much. Card Shark is, I think, one of the coolest games highlighted today, and maybe my personal favorite. I love Devolver Digital, and I honestly thought they let us down with their summer presentation. They doubled down on Carrion and Serious Sam and didn't really show much new, but Devolver is responsible for some of the most original and exciting indies on Switch. Things like Ape Out, Enter the Gungeon. I love Card Shark. It combines cheating, 18th century artwork, and card games in a wonderful style from the developers who made Reigns, which is that game where you swiped left or right on mobile. Eventually it came to Switch and you developed your own narrative roguelike type story in a medieval kingdom. A very cool concept, and here it seems like they've taken that foundation and fleshed it out into Card Shark. I love the idea. I think it looks awesome, and Devolver seems to be back on their shtick of being weird and wild and publishing really unique and interesting experiences on Switch. And you gotta love the indie worlds for doing just that. I thought it was very impressive that they avoided Metroidvania for the most part, although Axiom Verge 2 is another title like those I mentioned earlier of where the heck is it? And I hope Nintendo, going forward, whether because of this show, because of the pandemic, or because they just woke up, really does emphasize games that are coming soon. I say that as Card Shark gets its 2021 date, but inevitably they have to tease something for the future. I wonder if the coming Direct will do the same. We know that they need to fill the spaces in 2020, but we've also heard rumors of a Breath of the Wild 2 Collector's Edition popping up at retailers, Skyward Sword Switch Edition popping up at retailers. Maybe they are ready to not only dot in the rest of the current calendar year, but highlight what's ahead as well, and I'm all for that. Especially on the AAA first-party side, I think it's important to lay the groundwork for not only the next few months, but the next year as well, and we currently have no idea what is next. Now, what's interesting is that the Switch sells no matter what Ninten does or Ninten-Don't. They put out one game of extreme merit in Animal Crossing New Horizons in the last 6 months, and that has carried them to some of their best-selling months ever, and Animal Crossing, of course, is sold out the wazoo. This console is powerful, whether it has releases or not, and that will motivate Nintendo to put out a lot of great games when the time is right. Perhaps this year is totally messed up because of the pandemic. Maybe I love Going Under, can't wait to this. What is that, September 24th? Yep, mark that down. Perhaps we will get a major holiday release and all be surprised, or perhaps we'll get nothing more than the Mario 3D collection. But no matter what happens, even if the next Direct doesn't materialize for months, or if we do get it at the end of August like I'm predicting and sources are calling, we know that Nintendo will continue to support this system, and third parties should more and more flock, as well as indies. The Switch is thriving. Unrailed looks really, really neat. I like the idea of this as well. And it is good for us gamers. Our patience will eventually be rewarded, and even though 2020 has been a miserable time, struggling looks a little miserable, but at the same time it kind of reminds me of Earthworm Jim, and so I might be about it. We'll have to wait and see. I'm excited for the future of Switch. Even if some of these titles are mobile, like Inmost coming from Apple Arcade, at least it's out soon. Grindstone is making an appearance as well, but that game is glorious. The Switch is quickly becoming a hub for all sorts of games, and so many of extreme quality. Titles from yesteryear, titles from today, titles from small companies, titles from large companies, and even if we haven't heard much lately, Nintendo can always pull a trick out of their sleeve. They can always surprise us and do what they normally Ninten-Don't, like with this indie world, where they said, you know what? 6 Shadow drops. Going Under 2. Probably my game of the show. I love this so much. It's got such a weird, odd, dark vibe, and they just revealed this 4-player party mode with the roguelite elements. I think it's going to be amazing. That one's out this fall, but we have so much to play today. So what are you targeting? And are you excited about this wildcard future of Nintendo Switch, where they can do anything at any moment? They can announce Paper Mario. They can have no Direct. They can have a big stealth drop. They can have a huge Direct. They can do nothing, and they can release everything at once. We are in exciting times, and I'm pumped to share it with you. So smash that like button if you enjoyed today's video. Let me know which games tickled your fancy in the comments down below. Members, special shout out. I'll see you guys on the streams. Everybody, stay safe, stay healthy, stay smart out there. 2 geese are better than 1, and 2 Directs this month would make me oh so happy. So let's cross our fingers and say goodbye. Until that time, everybody, I love you a lot. Thanks for being amazing. SwitchForce out.